Hello and welcome to my garden and the dinosaurs who live there. This is part 3 of the August garden tour. This is the last part. I split the tour into 3 just to try and keep them in slightly more manageable chunks. And in this tour we're going to have a look at, we've already had a look at the deck in the first video, the patio in the second video, and this is going to look at the rest of the garden, the beds, etc. So hope you've enjoyed the previous videos and I hope you enjoy this one too. Let's have a look at the garden. Okay, let's start at the long border, which goes down almost the full length of the garden. Goes down there. And just at the top here, near to where we sit, we've got some herbs. So we've got mint there, and a rosemary, and a sage. And this is, or was, chives, but yeah, that's okay. I was just trying to keep the girls off it. It's not very prevalent at the minute, but that's okay. Since last time, I think I have pruned my buxus. So I've pruned my buxus balls, so I've got 3 buxus balls there. I also trimmed these 2 guys, which are meant to be sort of rectangular. They're not quite, but we'll get there through time. Oh, have I just tripped over a chicken? No. Yeah, so in the back there's just the usual array of shrubs. And this little sweet pea that has, it's flowered moderately, I would say, but it's just about done now. So I'll be cutting it up and composting it shortly. And here we have some Gladioli. These are new for this year. And look at this, look at the colour. It's almost like an acidic yellow. I really like that actually. And my huge Formium, or New Zealand flax as it's also called. And I'm just going to swing back round. And here's my little shadow. Hello. Hello, Matilda. And to see this bed here. So we've got some tall spires of flowers whose name I have forgotten. And then we've got a nice heuchera there, which over the winter time it stands out a little bit more because there's less in this bed. But again, I like this, quite a lime green heuchera. And this is a little Aquilegia that has done its stuff in the springtime, and it will come back next year. And one of the hostas that I didn't really do much with this year. Look at that, can you see? That is there, a little tiny snail. I can't really zoom in very well with this camera, but it's a little icky bicky snail, which I will relocate. I won't kill, well I'll try not to, but it'll be very soft shelled. So yeah, so this is at the point where the snails and the slugs are just going to annihilate it now. But it will come back bigger and better even next year. And we've now got my Perennial Rudbeckias starting to flower quite well. I will cut some of these because they last really well in vases. And the Echinops now are just over. I'll just leave those and I'll chop them back in a little while. And at the end of the bed, another hosta that's seen better days and another Aquilegia. I will need to, I think, trim that shrub there, the variegated shrub. Try and keep it down to some semblance of order. Okay, back to the the long bed. Just at the back there we've got some more shrubs, and we've got this sort of daisy-like perennial, which does well, although they could have done with a little bit more support, I think. These cut quite well, but they're looking a little bit moth-eaten, so I wouldn't bother cutting those. And then in this pallet collar bed, I did have 3 sunflowers in this, but 2 of them got broken in 2 with the wind. You can see that was some copper tape I had to try and prevent slugs getting them. And I had reasonably rigid supports in there. I've got one left though, this one here, which is actually, I think it's a sunburst, and it's actually growing quite tall. I would say from the top of the soil there to the top of the sunflower, I'm guessing, but I'm thinking about 6.5, 7 feet. So not monstrous, but it's fairly tall. And what else do I have in this bed? Well, I have potatoes. This is another part of my trial to see if I can get another batch of potatoes this year. Christmas potatoes, sometimes people refer to them as. I don't know whether we'll get to Christmas with them, but we'll see. So anyway, in here we've got Pentland Javelin. So I've popped 5, I think, in here, and in the hope that I'll be able to grow them on and get a winter, an autumn/winter harvest of potatoes. Tried it in this bed last year and it didn't. It started off well like this, but then the weather got the better of it, and I think eventually blight got the better of it. So I'm just trying again. We'll see. And then next door we've got a hydrangea. And this is a pretty one here. You can see it's a pink and cream. It's a bit crowded out with this big huge shrub that is taking over the joint. I think I'll trim that back a little bit to push it back towards the wall there, and give this little hydrangea a little bit more space. And here we have just the tail end of Crocosmia, which is finishing now. Some more shrubs. Actually, this is an azalea that I cut back quite hard, well, very hard in fact. So it didn't flower this year, but hopefully we'll get the nice white pom-pom flowers next year. And down in this bottom corner bed, underneath the big huge sycamore tree, things are just finishing up now. There's some hostas in here that are done, annihilated really. You can see that's what they don't look quite so pretty when they've been eaten by snails and slugs. The geranium there, the perennial geranium, still doing okay. We're now down to, we can see the foliage of the brunnera is just looking a little bit tatty now. And we had a volunteer, or a couple of volunteer honesties here. And it's very obvious that it's been honesty when you see the little seed heads, which are beautiful. Got another lot of Echinops here that are a little behind the one up at the top of the garden. And this is what they look like when they're flowering, which is pretty. And a few other bits and pieces at this part of the garden. If I go just into the depths here, we can see that we have another hydrangea, and it's popping its colour in here because it's actually quite shaded, but it's doing okay. There's another flower over there, or another couple over there, so it's quite pretty, that nice pretty pink colour. So if I meander back round here, you can actually see down towards this corner of the garden as well. I now have a new construction. So this was the bed that I had onions and garlic in, and I now have made it a little haven for some beetroot. And I've put this cover on really just to keep the chickens out and to keep, you know, we're coming into autumn when we'll get lots of leaves dropping, and it just stops the leaves getting into the bed. Now I'm trying something new in here. Hello, Hamble. Let me just try and open this up a bit so that I can show you. Oh, I've pinned shut. Right, if I just open this, you should be able to see that there's a... Oh, this is tricky with one hand. This is a copper... I'm just listening to what the chickens are doing there. A copper mesh, and I've got that all the way round. All the way round the bed there. And it's meant to prevent slugs and snails crossing, because slugs and snails do not like crossing copper. So that's one thing that I'm using in this bed to stop the slugs and snails getting this beetroot. Oh, by the way, ignore the signs at the back there. That was what's in this bed previously, after the onions and before the beetroot. Also, you'll see the sort of white gritty stuff. That's actually crushed oyster shells. Again, something that snails and slugs don't like crossing. And then the little brown pots, I've got 3 of them in this bed, and they are little bear traps. So I'm doing all I can to stop slugs and snails eating my beetroot. You'll see I've got a large clump in the middle there. That's a beetroot that's a little bit further on than the other ones. And then we have some smaller plants around. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted. I've ordered some more of this mesh, because it actually is quite a nice size for these sort of beds, and we'll see how we go. Fortunately, this is an empty bed that Jemima is having a look at. This did have my Picasso potatoes in, and I'm going to have garlic in that this autumn and winter. And I don't mind the girls going in and having a little rummage around in here. Hey, Jemima. And next door we have a variety of flowers in this bed, a lot of which are in pots, because it's quite inconvenient to move them around. So here we've got a little display of Cyclamen and Gerbera. I bought these plants rather than growing them myself. These are just about done, but you can see the colour there, pops quite nicely. And then down here we've got some begonia growing from their tubers. And then here a really nice fuchsia. Nice. So there's a pink theme down here, so we've got a nice pink and magenta fuchsia, and a stebe. Is that a stebe? I can never remember the name of this. So this is this coppery, browny coloured flower leaf. I do have a... Yes, here it is. It is an Astilbe chocolate shogun. And we have another sunflower here in the pot. It's maybe about 5 feet, maybe about 6 feet tall actually. I think again it's a sunburst, although it might be a Russian giant, or a not so giant Russian giant. And then the remnants of some geranium and some Aquilegia, and then here the Astrantia is just going over there. And another pot with some Rudbeckia. These would look lovely in vases actually. I don't know whether I might just cut those two, because they're very pretty. And then some other bits and pieces in the bottom of the pot there. And then the Astrantia here, Moulin Rouge, is just finished for the year as well. So if I just go through here to the pond area, we're still getting some Crocosmia, and look, there's little bumblebee having a little munch. Did I say Crocosmia? I might have said Crocosmia. I mean Cosmos, of course. and some ferns. And then here's another red robin tomato, which is giving loads and loads of tomatoes. We're just waiting on them really to go red. And then a full up wildlife pond there with a lot of bog bean, which is this here. And there's some reeds of varying forms and even some water lilies in there too. And an African marigold here. And here's some more Gladioli, not quite flowering yet, but they will. And I'm pretty sure one of these is going to be white with a sort of dark purple centre to it. So I look forward to seeing that. And a nice little heuchera, my heuchera passion. This one's a nice red colour with dark red veins. And then this is us looking from behind, the nice hydrangea that I talked about towards the end of my first August tour video, the one that was focusing on the deck. Now here we have, this is Blue Lake green bean, and I'm starting to get some green beans there. They're minute at the moment, but yeah, this is good. So we'll get a couple of little meals from there. And then here we have my beans, my Berlotti beans. I'm trying to avoid my, I've got washing hanging up. I'm trying to avoid showing you my washing. So we've got Berlotti beans here, and you can see there's plenty growing. And I'll grow these and I'll dry them and use them for soups and stews and such like. First year growing them, so I think it's fairly successful so far. Yeah, let's now dodge the outrageously busy raspberry bush there and look down here at the tomato house. So the tomato house has a variety of different varieties of tomato in here, and we're just at the point where we're waiting on them to ripen. So unfortunately my Yellow Delight, which is this one here, it broke. I hadn't been as studious as I should have been tying it up as it grew, and a whole large, the whole top part of it broke with lots of tomatoes on trusses. So I've got them indoors, they're green, but I'm hopefully going to get them to ripen. But we're getting, I think that's, what else did I grow in here? Gardener's Delight. This one is, I've forgotten now. There's more Gardener's Delight there. This is Gardener's Delight as well. It's starting to get a little bit red. What is this one? Tomtastic, this one is a sort of bush variety. I've heard of small tomatoes, but that's taking the proverbial. They're rinky dinky. And some more there. So not spectacular, but you know, if I can get them ripe, and we're always really late in getting red tomatoes up here, that will be fine. I'm now leaning on this, which is another one of my Brussels sprouts in a pot. And if you look in there, you can probably see some little baby Brussels sprouts there. And it seems to be quite healthy, that one. It's not getting eaten too badly. And then I'll just move to the end here, and I've got another pot and another cauliflower. I harvested a cauliflower a couple of weeks ago, and this is the other one that I had in the pot. It's pretty small at the moment, but I'm hoping we'll get it maybe 2 or 3 times that size, and then I can harvest that. Looking back along the wall, the gable end, here's another Brussels sprout. This one is getting a bit eaten. Certainly there are slug and snail trails on there. They go up the wall and then jump onto the plants. Here's my jade plant out for its summer holiday. This will go indoors shortly. And then we have a couple of cabbages. These are Dutchman cabbages, and I've got these anti-slug halos around them, so I'm hoping that that will protect them to a degree, and we'll see if we can get some cabbages in pots this year, or yeah, towards the end of the year. And this is us back to the patio. So I hope you enjoyed that little look around the rest of the garden, and I hope you have enjoyed watching the 2 previous August garden tours, showing you the deck and then the patio. I think that's me for now for our August garden tours, and I look forward to showing you what it all looks like in September. If you have enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe and follow me in my chicken keeping, quail keeping and gardening journeys. But that's all from me for now. I'll bid you a farewell. Bye bye.